guys, welcome back. And today I'm going to be doing my 2019 NHL Draft Lottery predictions. Now the NHL regular season has just ended, but with the lottery coming up real soon, which teams will end up picking in the top 3 of this upcoming draft, and which team will I predict to win the #1 overall pick? Watch till the end to find out. Now when it comes to the odds for this 2019 NHL Draft Lottery, the Colorado Avalanche have the best opportunity to be top 3 in the draft and draft the #1 overall pick with an 18.5%. Then the LA Kings are the second best team with a 13.5% chance. New Jersey Devils are 11.5%. The Detroit Red Wings 9.5%. The Buffalo Sabres 8.5%. New York Rangers 7.5%. The Edmonton Oilers 6.5%. The Anaheim Ducks at 6%. The Vancouver Canucks at 5%. The Philadelphia Flyers at 3.5%, the Minnesota Wild at 3%, the Chicago Blackhawks at 2.5%, the Florida Panthers at 2%, the Arizona Coyotes at 1.5%, and last but not least, the Montreal Canadiens with 1%. Now, since we're in the spirit of the NHL Draft Lottery, I got some paper, I got some letters, and we're ready to go. So I'm kind of going to do it like the TSN guy, where he kind of flips the paper over to reveal who it is. But for the 15th overall spot, this would originally be the Montreal Canadiens spots. And let's see, the Montreal Canadiens do get the 15th overall pick in my predictions. They had a whopping 1% chance at the first overall pick. There still is obviously a chance they do get high in the draft. It is pretty unlikely though. They just scraped out before the playoffs Columbus and Carolina getting the second wildcard spots in the Metropolitan Division and even the Eastern Conference. So Montreal being the best team by a long shot to miss the playoffs, they unfortunately stick with the 15th overall pick. Now moving on to the 14th overall pick right here, originally going to be for the Arizona Coyotes, and they do keep it. The Arizona Coyotes staying with the 14th overall pick in my predictions. But Arizona, just like Montreal, having pretty bad chances, ended up having a 1.5% at the 3 spots. And in my personal opinion, Arizona was super close to the playoffs. The Colorado Avalanche just ended up eliminating them at the last few days. So Arizona still had a pretty successful season, but unfortunately, they will not be drafting in the top 3 in my predictions. Now moving on to the 13th overall pick, the shiny number 13, and the 13th overall pick goes to the Florida Panthers. Originally, that pick was going to go to Florida. It stays in Florida. It makes sense. Now going on to the 12th overall pick, this spot originally being spotted by the Chicago Blackhawks, and the Chicago Blackhawks keep the 12th pick in my 2019 Draft Lottery predictions. Now, I know a lot of Blackhawks fans that are subscribed to the channel that would love to have a top 3 pick, a guy like Hughes or Kakko. As a Dallas Stars fan, it would be pretty much a nightmare to see that happen, but Chicago has a decent chance at it. Being at the 12th overall spot, they could jump up, and honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. Now heading into the 11th overall pick, this spot being occupied by the Minnesota Wild, and they keep the 11th overall pick in my predictions. Not too big of a surprise there. Minnesota just made the playoffs for the first time since I think 2012. They've had a pretty successful run, but for Minnesota, this is the first year they're in the draft lottery in a long time, but this time I just don't see them getting too much luck. Now heading into the top 10 of my draft lottery predictions, this spot being occupied originally by the Philadelphia Flyers, of course the team that jumped up 2 years ago to get Nolan Patrick in the 2017 NHL draft. Could they do it this time? Well, I'm not sure about it when it comes to Philadelphia's luck. I expect them to keep that 10th overall pick and stay in that position. Now heading on over to the number 9 pick, this spot being originally occupied by the Vancouver Canucks, and a lot of people want them to have the Hughes brothers, me included. A guy like Kaapo would honestly be amazing with that fantastic team that they already have around Elias Pettersson, but when it comes to the 9th overall pick, I do expect the Vancouver Canucks to once again not get too much luck in this draft and stay at number 9. And I'm not even a Canucks fan, but I would love to see the Hughes brothers together if that somehow happens, if Vancouver goes up in the lottery, goes up big. I would like to see Vancouver win the draft lottery, get a guy like Hughes, and complete the brother duo. Is it likely? No. But do I want it? Definitely yes. Now heading on into the number 8 overall pick, this spot being occupied by the Anaheim Ducks, and they do keep that pick. In my predictions, the Anaheim Ducks are set to place 8th overall, and I think they will continue to be at that spot. Now heading on into the number 7 pick, and this pick will be infamous to a lot of people as this is the spot where the Edmonton Oilers are drafting, or at least supposed to draft, before the NHL Draft Lottery. And a lot of people don't want them to be in the top 3. They don't want them to get a guy like Hughes or Kakko. And in my predictions, I see them staying at the 7th overall pick, still picking at number 7. And Edmonton has had their fair share of first overall picks: Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Nail Yakupov, Taylor Hall, Connor McDavid. It's about time they settled down a little bit. Last year, they did not jump up whatsoever, so it's a progress. And I like the Edmonton Oilers, but seeing them with the first overall pick again is just a little bit greedy, and in my personal opinion, it would either ruin Jack Hughes or Kakko. So, if anything, just please don't make that happen. Now, heading in over to the 6th pick, this is where the New York Rangers are originally supposed to draft. A very interesting spot as well, but in my opinion, the Buffalo Sabres will be drafting 6th overall, which means a lot of different things. With the Buffalo Sabres drafting at number 6, that means they move down one spot, and that means the New York Rangers, in my personal opinion, will be moving up to the top 3 in the 2019 NHL Draft Lottery. And that's a lot of drama, and that's a lot of fun. Now, heading in on over to the 5th pick, and this pick originally being from the Buffalo Sabres, they ended up having to move down, which means that this could be a variety of teams. But with the 5th overall pick in the top 5, the New Jersey Devils will select. That means they've dropped 2 spots. They're originally supposed to be at the 3rd overall position, so this also means a ton of things. Now, heading in over to the number 4 overall pick, this pick originally being dealt by the Detroit Red Wings, so this pick will be very interesting. And the team selecting 4th overall will be the LA Kings, which, as the Detroit Red Wings are not in the 4th pick, means that the Detroit Red Wings have also advanced to the top 3 in the draft lottery. So that means in my top 3 of my 2019 NHL Draft Lottery, I have a mixture of Colorado, the Detroit Red Wings, and the New York Rangers. And that is a very exciting top 3, a lot of history between those 3 teams, but a lot of youth and a lot of promise between them, and a lot of those teams need a guy like Jack Hughes or Kakko right now. Now we have the 3rd overall card and the 1st overall card right here. We're first going to do the 3rd overall for dramatic effect, of course, but whoever goes, or whoever picks 3rd, there will be 2 teams that moves on, whether it's Colorado Avalanche, New York Rangers, or the Detroit Red Wings. There's a lot of suspense with this top 3 pick. Now, for the team that I think will draft 3rd overall in the 2019 NHL Draft Lottery, I have the Colorado Avalanche, which means the New York Rangers and the Detroit Red Wings will be battling it out for the 1st overall pick. And with Colorado, obviously, that is an amazing pick to have, stealing Ottawa's 1st round pick. It's obviously the number 1 overall pick if we're going by odds. They have the best odds to get the 1st overall pick, but in my opinion, I think they'll slip down just a little bit. Now, going on over to the 1st overall pick, a battle between the New York Rangers and the Detroit Red Wings, 2 teams that were outside of the top 3 that ended up jumping a little bit to get inside here. Both of these teams want the 1st overall pick. Both of these teams want to have that advantage, and both teams, with their youthful core, could definitely use it. But for the team that I predict will win the 2019 NHL Draft Lottery, I have the Detroit Red Wings. And with the Detroit Red Wings picking number 1, that means the New York Rangers will be sliding to the 2nd overall pick, but also advancing 5 spots from where they were originally pegged. The Detroit Red Wings supposed to draft number 4, they jump up to the number 1 overall spot. And in my opinion, the Detroit Red Wings are a little bit due for this. When it comes to their current rebuild, they could use that guy like Jack Hughes or a Kakko. They got Zaninia in the last draft. They were kind of shafted a little bit by the draft lottery, but this time around, I think the luck will be on their side. Same thing goes for the New York Rangers, who in my opinion, I think will be drafting 2nd overall in the draft. Whether that's Jack Hughes or Kakko, they could really use both players, and that youthful movement in New York will be definitely strengthened by the talents of either of those 2 guys. And whoever ends up getting the top 2 pick, whoever gets the 2nd overall pick, will have a pretty good time on their hands, because there's not too much of a difference between Jack Hughes and Kakko. So it's going to be a fight for those top 2 spots, and I think a lot of teams right now, definitely in the tank mode, know that. Now, when it comes to my final draft order, I have the Red Wings picking number 1, the New York Rangers picking number 2, the Avalanche number 3, the Kings number 4, the Devils number 5, the Sabres number 6, the Oilers number 7, the Ducks number 8, the Canucks number 9, the Flyers number 10, the Wild number 11, the Blackhawks number 12, the Panthers number 3, the Coyotes number 14, and last but not least, the Montreal Canadiens at number 15. Now, a big thing I want to point out is that I do not have a team from the 10s going up and going in the top 3. We've seen that in the last couple of years. We saw that with Carolina last year where they jumped up from, I think, number 12 and ended up getting the 2nd overall pick. We saw that a couple of years ago with Dallas and Philadelphia both jumping up to get the 2nd and 3rd overall picks. I think this year will be a little bit different. We'll obviously see some teams jumping up like I predict New York and Detroit to do, but I feel like they'll be in that area where they have a decent chance at it, unlike Philadelphia or a couple of years ago where they had like a 2% chance, and it was just absolutely ridiculous. But honestly, this draft lottery could go a lot of different ways. I could say another team is due for it, and there's a lot of different teams that are due for a guy like Jack Hughes or Kaapo Kakko. So the battle for the top 2 and even top 3 spots in the draft will be a pretty fierce one. There's going to be a lot of teams that are going to want that, especially more than ever, because they have those 2 elite talents at the top. And there's teams that deserve that kind of talent, deserve that type of forward help, and the Detroit Red Wings and the New York Rangers do fit that bill. But of course, with this video, I want to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments down below. So let me know, what do you think about my 2019 draft lottery predictions? What do you think about my top 3? Me having Detroit, New York, and Colorado in those top 3 spots. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know. And also let me know your top 3 spots in draft lottery. Who do you see getting the first overall pick? But if you guys want some more Grav videos just like this one, you can click on this card right here to watch my April 2019 NHL mock draft. But that'll be it for today, guys. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Again, comment down below your thoughts on my top 3 and what your top 3 and winner of the draft lottery will be. And I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Goodbye.